Bowling with the Theft.
I encourage you to get fast.
Your bowling stories.
For all things the game of bowling.
Every week.
Helping bowlers.
The hand collapses down.
Live.
And I'm going to try to bowl the best I can.
2,000 subscribers. 2,000 subscribers.
I want to challenge Chad Nelson.
Tom Corbett.
Jason Belmonte.
Let's do this. This is Bowling with the Pfaff.
Well, hey, everybody. Good Wednesday evening. Welcome to another episode of Bowling with the Pfaff, a platform for you to share your unique bowling story live on our YouTube channel. I'm very excited to have on a guest tonight that I feel like I know because we've corresponded on social before, never met in person, but it's easy to tell how passionate he is about this sport, and I can't wait to hear about his story coming up shortly here. Well, an interesting wrinkle in the PWBA event in Wisconsin this year. In his State of Association message released today on USBC's website, Chad Murphy says the finals of the PWBA Anniversary Open will be contested in an arena setting. Now, Murphy said it will be part of Junior Gold, which is in Green Bay and Weston, on July 11th through the 19th. It includes a product showcase and trade show at the Resch Center and Resch Expo in Ashwaubenon. The tournament proper will be contested at the Ashwaubenon Bowling Alley. The PWBA Anniversary Open is from July 8th through the 13th. This year is the 10th anniversary of the PWBA's relaunch. The tour had folded in 2003 before coming back in 2015. PWBA website says the finals will be televised live on the 13th, but doesn't say which channel it will be on just yet, and it will be at a time to be announced. Well, the PWBA also enshrining two new Hall of Famers this year. Liz Johnson and Marianne DeRupo, both USBC Hall of Famers, will both go into the PWBA Hall of Fame in the performance category. That was announced yesterday. Johnson has 25 PWBA titles, including 10 majors and 6 USBC Women's Championship wins. She became the second woman to win a PBA Tour title. Her win at the PBA Chameleon Championship in 2017 is the most recent time a woman has won on that tour. Johnson is also an 11-time member of Team USA. DeRupo won 8 titles on the PWBA Tour, including 3 majors. She was the 1992 PWBA Rookie of the Year, shot a record 4 300s in one tournament. That's a record that still stands today, the 1998 Samstown Invitational. She did finish third in that event. Johnson and DeRupo will be inducted May 14th in Las Vegas in conjunction with the 2025 USBC Queens. Well, we're getting closer and closer to another tournament live stream on the channel, Bowling with the Pfaff, the place for start to finish coverage of the Big Ten Championships. It's on February 1st and 2nd at Bolero Mount Prospect in suburban Chicago. We will have more information and links on the channel coming soon. I've got them almost ready, but we'll tell you where to go, so you'll be able to watch live when those collegiate players compete, both men and the women. Hey, we've got a merch store up on Etsy right now, etsy.com/shop/bowling with the Pfaff code. That's the place to get your Bowling with the Pfaff merch. T-shirts and hoodies available right there. And a big thank you to our sponsors, Jerry's Score More Bowling Supply inside Wagner's Lanes in Eau Claire. If it's has to do with bowling, whether it's bowling balls, drilling, accessories, instruction, Jerry's got it, and he can get it to you. He's been doing it since 1988, and he would be happy to see you there. 715-559-1822 is his number. Go and see him soon.
Handmade salsa is great, but it's such a hassle. Cutting yourself, the constant waiting, burning yourself. Oh, look at that mess. Oh. Raise your snack standards. Chip Magnet Salsa.
I've never tried to make salsa by myself, and I don't want to. So thank goodness that Chip Magnet Salsa is around. And if you're in the Racine-Kenosha area, it's around you. You can find it at Woodman's, Festival, Piggly Wiggly, Meyer, Mariano's, Pick and Save, and even at the Mars Cheese Castle off of I-94. Chip Magnet Salsa, made in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, and they have been a supporter of this show for quite a while, and I always appreciate it. You can also get it on Amazon too. They've got their own store there, but the special deal that they've set up for our viewers, our listeners, is great. Promo code BWTF2025. You get 25% off a 6-pack order on chipmagnetsalsa.com. Always available there too. Chip Magnet, raise your snack standards. Well, our guest tonight has bowled all across the country and written about the sport on a bunch of popular platforms. And now his son has caught the bowling bug, lucky for him, and he's got a big fan in his dad. And fortunately, Dad is who we've got as our guest tonight. This one's called Masen Me, and me is Brian Hirsch, who is joining us from Milwaukee tonight. Brian, welcome to Bowling with Fef.
Fef, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be on the show.
Yeah, it's an honor to have you here. Of course, challenged by reigning PBA Rookie of the Year, Nate Purches, and he commented about your work with the youth and just being a good guy. It's got to feel good to hear that stuff from such a promising young talent.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, since day one that we met Nate, Mason and him clicked instantly and have been best friends. I mean, Nate's even come down to Kenosha to bowl a junior adult tournament with him. So sometimes it's nice to be on the sidelines and just let, someone who's, that the kids are looking up to come down and bowl a tournament with. I mean, I was gleaming the whole time. Didn't matter where they finished.
Yeah, that's got to be a thrill for him and, a thrill for you both, of course. That's really awesome to hear. Chris Pulliam, live chat here saying, good evening, gentlemen. Good evening to you, Chris. If you are like Chris and on live, feel free to, leave a message, ask a question, whatever you like. If you're on replay, leave a comment. I do see them all as well. Robert Moore says, good evening, guys. What up, Brian?
What's up, Robert?
So yeah, I like to get into a lot of bowling stuff, and I will, but I got to mention your wife, Amber. She posts often on social media, and it's often about her health. And I've noticed that in your appearances on Phantom Radio, you've talked about her at length. I know Len Nicholson has, is always concerned, always wants to know about how she's doing, and I do too. So can you tell us, kind of an update on what's going on with Amber?
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you even asking. For those that don't know our story or myself, my wife was diagnosed late 2017, early 2018 with stage 4 colon cancer. And so it's been an uphill battle, and there has been, a great outpour from our friends and friends that we've met online, that's following the story. Health-wise, with cancer, you're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days. Status quo at the moment, but the bad days are when the chemo is involved. She actually just got disconnected from the pump that she has to wear, so it's every other week for 2 days for 48 hours.
Okay. Yeah, that's quite I guess an undertaking for her, and always affects the family as well. So certainly best wishes to her and, to you and Mason as well for supporting her. And, I'm sure I speak for the entire bowling community, because when something like this happens, that's when you really see the best of bowlers, I think. And I'm sure you've experienced something like that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you had mentioned Len Nicholson. I think when this whole started, he had his previous book out, and he's like, go on there and sell them and keep the profit and put it toward the medical. I was like, but you spent all this money, right, to get the books published and shipped. And he goes, I don't even care about that. He goes, I care about you parts. And if anyone knows Len, when you are deemed that nickname, you are loved by him for life.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. What a great thing for him to do, and a great relationship that you guys have, which is really cool. I've gotten to know him from a distance a little bit, and yeah, I can confirm that he's one of a kind. That's for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Dan says, "Good evening, Brian and Fef." I should ask you: Are these folks that you know, Dan Mordini?
Yeah, actually, Dan coaches with me at Sheridan Lanes in Kenosha, so he works with Mason weekly.
Oh, great. Okay. And Robert says, "It's RJ, just in case you didn't know, Brian. LOL, nobody calls me Robert." So, and I think RJ came on when we had Brian Ducey on a while back.
I was going to say, yeah, RJ is a huge fan of the Dog Tags Bowling Group, and I've been on the show with RJ. So, yeah, we actually met. Actually, we're coming up on our 1 year anniversary there, RJ. We're going to celebrate in February at the PBA event, is where we actually all met. Amber, Mason, RJ, Ducey. Needless to say, there were some cocktails flowing and a lot of great bowling on the live show. So we'll leave that at there.
Yeah. No, great folks. And Dog Tags Bowling, I'm a huge fan. So if you ever check out their channel, like it, subscribe it. They do great stuff for the veterans for sure. Agent Ong Open and Carl Long saying good evening all. And he says, long time, Brian. Hope all is well. You know, Carl?
Oh, very well. Yeah. So prior to moving to the Midwest, we spent 30 years in Arizona. So I spent about 30 years of getting beat by Carl, and I was happy when he attempted to go out on tour. It gave me like 1 week off of getting beat.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He really is.
Love Carl. He's doing, him and Theo are doing such amazing things that I'm actually jealous that I can't even be a part of the things that they got going on out there.
Yeah. Agent Ong Open, complete bowling events, among others. So RJ says, God bless you and your wife, Brian. My mom went through 3 bouts of cancer. I've been through it with her. Yeah, that's, I mean, cancer it's the worst. It's tough. It tests everybody who's affected by it for sure. And yeah, I'm glad to see you've got his support. Chris as well says everyone is rooting for Amber and the Hirsch family for sure. And yeah, RJ says looking forward to it. Already got our tickets for the PBA tourneys. You got to be looking forward to that All-Star weekend in Waukesha, huh?
Yeah, but first we've got to get through the Illinois Classic. So I'll be out there working. I think I'm working open to close. I believe it's Monday. I believe that's PTQ day. So I'll be working that. That's also the same day as the Pro-Am. So the plan is to take Mason to school. Amber's going to drop me off at the center, and I'm going to work until Mason gets home from school. And then her and Amber are going to come up and he'll bowl the Pro-Am.
Awesome.
So I'll be out at that event working, but yeah, looking forward to the All-Star as well.
Yeah. It's really cool when they bring events close enough to us. And I say us, even though I'm about 4 hours further away, but at least it gives us a chance, right?
Yeah. I mean, between Illinois and Wisconsin, the national bowling tournaments are putting us on the map. I mean, in the Open, you were even talking about the PWBA. We have Junior Golds. I'd be remiss, obviously, as a tournament manager for the PBA LBC. We have that event also, as well as the partner in Peterson and Lumberjack going on in the Chicagoland area as well. So we are almost the next hub where it comes to national events this year.
Yeah. Hoping that keeps on growing and growing, because that's great to see. RJ says he won't be in Waukesha, unfortunately, but he will be in Baton Rouge for the Open Championships. Are you heading down to the OCs this year?
I am not this year.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. And neither am I. At least that's the plan right now. But not that I didn't have a great time last year. Just, got to pick and choose, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So you were talking about, being in Phoenix and all that stuff. You are in Wisconsin now, but you're kind of a transplant. So tell us about where you grew up and how you first got into bowling.
So I'm going to kind of just throw it out there. My bowling story is going to be unlike anybody else's because honestly, when I'm done with my story, you're going to be surprised I even picked up a bowling ball. I'm a native New Yorker, and I was probably in the 7, 8, 9-year-old range. Parents were divorced. My father took my brother and I bowling, and that's where it was never a good thing. You know, in the late 80s, even some early 90s, there weren't the bumpers for open play. So, you know, my father was very aggressive in the regards to, you know, yelling at us literally to throw it down the middle of the lane, and we're a 7, 8-year-old throwing a 6-pound ball. Obviously, we know that's not a thing. And now we will fast forward to, and I never really ever went back into a bowling center. We're going to fast forward to my either sophomore or junior year. The apartment complex that we were living in now in Phoenix backed up behind a shopping center. And I knew there was a bowling center there, but, you know, no big deal. It wasn't a thing. I didn't, you know, that I did. And, you know, I would go through the parking lot in the back of the store, cut through to walk to school. And maybe Monday or Tuesday, a PBA truck pulls up, you know, behind the center. Okay, it's behind a shopping center. Trucks park. They spend, you know, they get their hours of sleep in, and then they take off. Well, for 2 days, that truck's in there. Now we're coming up on Thursday, and there's these 2 PBA trucks. Now there's 2 ABC trucks. Still don't have a lick of what's going on. No idea there's a national tournament going on behind my apartment.
Wow.
Saturday morning, here we go. This is where the seed was planted. Saturday morning, I'm channel surfing. I happen to stop on, guess what? ABC bowling. Wow. And next thing I know, I just watched 2 hours of bowling. Before I knew any better, that show was over. I literally ran to the bowling center, and the first person I figured was an employee. I said, "Hey, I just saw this on TV. I want to do it." Again, I'm a high school kid. Yeah. They said, okay, because at that time, centers had youth directors that were an employee of the center. Mm-hmm. They got me in touch. He said, "Hey, if you really want to do this, be here at 10 a.m. next Saturday. We'll get you set." And about 30 years later, here I am still throwing a ball. Like I said, it didn't start like most people. You know, it wasn't like Mason's story. It's going to be, hey, my mom and dad bowled. You know, I didn't have that growing up. My parents didn't bowl. It wasn't a thing. And the fact that my bowling story came 180 degrees is definitely a different twist on a bowler's story of how we get in.
Yeah, it came to you.
It literally
came to you. Yeah. Yep. Wow. So what was that like, kind of growing in the game after you had seen obviously players at the highest level and then starting your journey, because it never starts fast, right?
Yeah, no, it never starts fast. You know, there was I think a Herman Sporting Goods right next door to the bowling center. So I got my first ebonite teal impact plastic bowling ball, you know, and just throwing it down the middle of the lane. But the nice thing was that the center was, you know, literally walking distance, and it's Arizona. So what are you going to do for 4 months when it's 115 degrees? I was in the center 4, 5, 6 days a week, just nonstop bowling. And of course that led to my first job as a kid, was working in the center. So bowling industry stuff has really, to use what you said, really came to me as opposed to me finding it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we've got a ton of comments here. I'm going to try and get through them.
An hour show, huh, Pep?
Yeah, that's right. We're going to try. Chris says he's excited for the LBC this year. Going to try and get triple-digit scores every game. That usually helps.
He had so much fun last year.
Yeah. No, he's a great guy. I had the pleasure of meeting him at the PWBA stop in the Twin Cities this past season, and He's
Awesome.
really great. Bowl Forward is his baby, and it's a noble cause. Glad he's doing it. Dan says going to try to make it an LBC weekend this year. There you go.
Awesome.
Derek says, "What's up, guys?" Derek Michaud with the Flush in the Pocket podcast. Tuning in live, and then you've got RJ. Are you coming down for the Beat the Champ show tomorrow?
I am not. I am actually, as Fef said in the open, I'm in Milwaukee. I'm actually going to USBC for some training tomorrow.
Okay. All right. So I can't say I'm familiar with Beat the Champs, but it sounds awesome.
Yeah, it really is. Storm came in and kind of helped rejuvenate it. It's in the Illinois area, and they have a PWBA, a PBA, and then 2 PBA juniors, boy and girl, set a target score. And RJ, if I'm off at all, I know you're gonna make me straight, but they will do a live show tomorrow where they will set the target score. And in the booth is Coach Bill Sprigner, and I believe Abigail Starkey is in the booth also. So it'll be a fun telecast to watch.
That is some heavy star power going on in that booth for sure. Yeah. Well, best to those, in that event for sure. Chris says, trying to imagine having a home behind a bowling center and not actually spending every free minute in there. Great story. Yeah. I join him in those sentiments because I know as a kid I would.
Oh yeah, it was a great way to stay out of trouble until the casinos opened in Arizona, and they're on Indian land, and I leave it at this: you tell me a smart 18-year-old that's allowed to go into a casino legally.
Yeah.
Again, I'll leave it right there.
I understand. Yeah, for sure.
I had to work double hard to spend the money.
Yeah. Believe it. Chris says Verity Crawley and Kyle Troop are the pros, so there you go. Even more star power down there.
Yeah, Brady McDonough and Mila is the girl youth bowler.
Okay, wow, that's
so
quite yeah. Dan says you are on it. Derek says there's also a different version of Beat the Champ. It's in New York on MSG, and it's on YouTube every week. Ton of content there. Is that the Buffalo one?
Probably. I think MSG is one of the New York sports channels, if I remember correctly. But yeah, they've been doing a lot of stuff on social media as well.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, RJ says Kyle Troop, Verity Crawley. Those folks that Beat the Champs, Dan says, is so exciting to me. Who lived in the Chicago suburbs when that first started. Yeah, Dan says, yep, that is the Buffalo one. Okay, I've seen a little bit of that before. And RJ says Malia Briggs.
Malia Briggs, that's right.
Who is not only a terrific bowler, but also a YouTube expert.
Yes.
All of us in the content creation game should, bow to her because, wow.
Yeah, she's doing some great stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So that'll be an awfully exciting event for sure. So you're getting into this while you're in high school, and are you doing it on your own? Are you on a league team? Is there any high school team to be involved with at this point?
So at my tenure, if you will, there was no such thing in Arizona as high school bowling or middle school bowling. Actually, it was all kind of new when I moved out to the Midwest here. So to answer your question, it was a Saturday morning team bowling. And then we bowled city, we bowled state. I mean, looking back, the amount of work, and I use that word loosely because when you're beginning, it's not work, it's fun, right?
Yeah.
My first tournament was the Arizona State YBA tournament, and I won the team event with 3 subs.
Oh, wow.
So again, you talk about something finding me, like who does that, right?
Right.
So, yeah, bowling found me, and I'm glad it did. That it helped me find my wife. We bowl together as youth bowlers, so I owe a lot, and anyone who knows me and really knows me knows I love to give back more than I take in from the sport, and I think it's those reasons of growing up.
Yeah. What is the Phoenix bowling scene like when you're getting into it? Because like you said, we see the big money events that Theo and Carl are putting on down there, but it wasn't always like that, was it?
Yes and no, not in the tournament wise. A center, I mean, first of all, I mean, with the amount of national talent that at one point, I mean, you go to any classic league or a scratch league, and obviously out here in Kenosha, we have AJ Johnson, we have Lenny Borish, but in Phoenix, I look to my left, I have Andrew Kane, I have Michael Haugen Jr., I have Jim Pratt, I have David Leverage. At one point when I was still a youth bowler, but I'd go up with a mentor of mine to watch one of the big leagues. I'm trying to think of Jess Stayrook was living in the East Valley. So there was so much talent, and the league at not Maricopa Lanes, at Country Club Lanes in Mesa, you bowled the league, but it was about the side action. Yeah. There was so much side action because everybody was, 210, 220, where 210, 220 was really good. Yeah. And you'd walk out with some good money just watching people shoot 279 and lose.
Wow. But when you're dealing with those, national pros all in the same spot, yeah, a big number to win.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the way that those guys see the lane, the front to back, the left to right, is so different. And they could kind of talk to, let's just call ourselves novice, and even those of us that are weekend warriors, it's a special breed. I think we can all agree. Those national guys are the epitome of perfect. I mean, we miss, by an arrow. They miss by a 16th of a board.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's something to see. And I had never been to a national tour event before, I think 2022. So I've been to a few of them now, and wow, if you haven't been, you got to check it out at some point, because those
absolutely.
Early ones, yeah,
absolutely. Seeing an EJ or a Belmo or Simo, any of those guys on TV, and then getting the pleasure to just stand behind them and watch them, you see things the TV doesn't even pick up.
Right.
The little nuances that they do. So I can't stress enough, if there is a tournament and first of all, if there's a Pro-Am, go do the Pro-Am. That is going to be the best fun you're going to have at a national event. And then if you get to watch those guys throughout the week and watch their process, it's things that they could tell you what they're doing, but unless you're in their shoes, you can't really experience it. And that's what makes those guys so darn good, is that experience.
Yeah. And in that Pro-Am environment, you totally see the difference, because you're out there struggling to get the ball to wrinkle, and they're bending the whole lane.
Yep. Yeah. Sometimes they'll be lucky and they'll put a house shot out, but I've been at that tournament where they put out that sport pattern that the guys are bowling on that week, because they didn't want to change the integrity of the lane pattern by going, their practice session, put a house shot out, and then put out the tour pattern for that week. So I've bowled and oh my God, I kind of went crying on back to the car.
Yeah. No, it's something for sure. Okay, Chris says 100% agree with Brian. Watching professionals in person, being able to see different angles, follow them from shot to shot and lane to lane, there is nothing like it. And RJ says, when we went to the Illinois Classic last year, it's amazing the difference watching the pros on TV compared to in person. And it stands to reason. You've got everybody agreeing, because it's true. Trust me. Okay, so how do you end up going from Phoenix to Kenosha to Salem to Wisconsin? I mean, it's like two different worlds, right?
Yeah, man. can't tell you how many times I've had that question. It's a really easy answer. I was working for USBC at the Open Championships. So for me personally, it didn't matter where I lived because the tournament rotated.
Yeah.
But the commitment to move out to Wisconsin was that my wife, Amber, rekindled a relationship with her father. And again, after 30 years of 120 degrees, we figured, hey, let's try something different and have, 4 or 5 months of, 10 degrees to -5 for a while and just kind of change things up. And bam, here we are.
Yeah. Yeah. What did you find when you got there as far as the bowling community? Was it what you expected? Were there surprises along the way?
I don't think necessarily surprises because I was working for USBC. So here I am, a brand new face, new person. Nobody knows who I am. And I'm like, hey, I want to bowl a league. And the center was like, yeah, great. We want to have you. But I can only bowl until February because I ship out to the Open Championships and I'll be gone for 6 months. So trying to find a league with that setup was a little difficult. I did work the Open Championships for only 2 years, where it was 2017 and 2019, where I was media in 2017 and I was lane maintenance for the Bowlers Journal in 2019. As I said at the Open, 2018 is where things happened with my wife, where USBC offered me junior gold. 6 months for 12, 13 days is a little bit doable. And my wife knows how much I love going and working junior gold and giving back. We make it work, and we've had for the past few years. So it's been easier now that they kind of know where I'm at, and with junior gold solely my responsibility with, of course, the PBA LBC, it's doable and where I can still be in town and bowl league.
Yeah. Yeah. No. And so I've got to ask, because junior gold is coming to Wisconsin this year. Everybody's all excited for it. I'm excited because I've never experienced it, and I'm hoping I can get across the state there to not only see some of junior gold, but also the PWBA. What's it like for you to, I want to say have it in your backyard, but at least in your home state?
Me specific, and I will speak to the other scorers. We literally, and people don't believe me when I say this, we're in the center. I'm up about 20 hours, 19, 20 hours for 4 or 5 days in a row. The scorer's responsibility is probably the one role that a lot of people don't know. So I'm going to kind of let people in a little bit. We are the connection from the scoring units at the center pretty much to what you see on bowl.com. Yeah. But they do not rotate us out. So my typical 4 or 5 days, once we get into the meat and potatoes and the qualifying of the tournament, it's a 5:30 meet in the lobby. And with the last squad, we're not back to the hotel till maybe midnight, 12:30. So we have enough time to have a little snack so you don't go to bed on a super full stomach, get 4 or 5 hours of sleep, and we do it again. This year will be a little different. I've always had a Brunswick rep, Julie with Brunswick. God, I love that woman. Gary Brown set us up. He goes, you two are going to be a match made in heaven. You guys are going to work so well together. And I think we've become best friends. And unfortunately, with the centers this year, it is very Cubica AMF. So there's only one center of the 7 that we're taking over for junior gold that has Brunswick. So I'm going to have to tweak some things that I do, but that's on the back end. But yeah, our particular role, and I would also say that would be the center manager, usually have those same kind of hours.
Wow.
So yeah.
That's something. Yeah. Wow. And they don't split it up, huh? Like,
Not for that particular role,
Yeah.
because of the training is so quick that they kind of keep the same core people doing it every year.
Sure. All right. Wow. Well, get some sleep beforehand because
Oh yeah, yeah.
because I know I would function well on that.
Energy drinks flow. Energy drinks and Pop-Tarts. That's the breakfast of champions for qualifying week.
For sure. It'll at least have you going for some time anyway, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. RJ says that man, Vicky and I are the opposite. Can't wait to move out of the Midwest winters this summer, and I can understand that. We've had a heck of a stretch here. Dan says, "OMG, this old coach wants to get to junior gold just to see what it really is." Yeah, like I said, I'm looking forward to it, but there's got to be something special about being there and seeing it in person, right?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I would put it up to what we spoke about a few minutes ago about the tour guys.
Yeah.
That is the other side of the spectrum. Yes, you could find your Bella Love Castillos, your Brady McDonoughs, your spacing on Abigail Starkeys, Gianna Brandolinos, but some of them that you don't know and you watch them, it's the same thing. They're cutting their teeth. They're learning on sport patterns, and the fact that these kids today versus what I had when we bowled on house or modified house. Like that was all we bowled on. These kids here, the ones that are built a little different, they don't want house. They don't want to just throw it right and watch it hook.
Mm-hmm.
They want to execute shots and be as sharp as possible. And the future, I mean, I can't scream it loud enough that the future of youth bowling just looks so grand.
Yeah, it does. Karen Griffin says, "Hi, Brian."
Karen, hello. She is the proprietor of Sheridan Lanes.
Oh, cool. Well, welcome, Karen. Glad to see you checking us out live. RJ Vicky said, "Get away from the Pop-Tarts. They're bad for you." LOL.
Well, then she needs to come up and bring me something.
There you go. See? Put your money where your mouth is. Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Okay, so you come to Wisconsin, you end up in Kenosha in that area. So I gotta go and reach out to the king, right? Lenny Borsch. I mean, he's the guy who's down there and knows the bowling community like no other. And he told me that you have such a passion for the game. He said you're involved in every aspect of it on a local, state, and national level. You love giving back to the game any way you can. I asked if he drilled for you, and he says he does. And he says you're a solid bowler, but not as good as your wife.
Absolutely true. The ongoing joke is she's the one in the family right now with the national title.
Okay.
So don't remember exactly what year. I know she's going to hit me when I get back tomorrow. But she and Sherry Steelman, excuse me, won the women's doubles of the 40 frame game.
Oh, okay. There you go. That's
so
as
yes,
national as it
absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. I don't have anything that close.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. No, he says that Mason is coming around, going to be a great bowler. It's fun to be around a family so enthusiastic about bowling. And I mean, I think of myself, and I had a conversation with Mrs. Pfaff tonight where I brought up something about bowling, and she said, "I would love to see you go one day without commenting about bowling somewhere along the line. You can't do it."
Not a thing.
But I have that, that passion. Is your family, do you feel like that's kind of ingrained in them from the start, or is it something that where you were the influence that kind of showed them the way on bowling?
No, I can't take the responsibility of that because, like I said, my wife and I, we bowled youth together.
Sure.
So we have always had bowling in parts of our lives. When we were just youth bowlers before we even dated, bowling was something that she did, was something that I did, and it's, for I guess a lack of better term, it was kind of our meeting place, right? And we still do it. We both bowl on Monday nights with another good couple of ours, Valerie and Daryl Senholtz. Their daughter bowls with Mason, and so it's it's a whole family unit thing that we do, and it's bowling.
Yeah, and it's the best sport of them, that's for sure.
Hell yeah.
Look at this, Wisconsin USBC.
Oh, the Cowboy.
Says, Cowboy, tell some good stories, my friend.
Not as good as that guy. That's a Wisconsin Hall of Famer right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and an Eagle winner, actually 2, I believe.
Yeah, he's great. I ran into him at the Open Championships my first time there, so glad to meet him. RJ says bowling is worse than a drug. Once it's in you, it's never leaving.
He's not wrong.
Yeah.
He's not wrong.
Yeah. And he says his wife blames him every day because he got her involved in bowling and she loves it. She asks to go practice more than he does.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
RJ, don't tell Vicky this, but that's good practice for when you have kids.
There you go. Oh, for sure. All right. So, yeah, tell me about your relationship with Lenny, because there's the bowling thing, of course. He's the nicest guy you ever want to meet, but he's also going through a tough time with his own cancer battle. I mean, are there, are they? Do they use each other as sounding boards? Do they, are they able to kind of exist in these tough times through each other?
Absolutely. And I'm glad you asked me to ask about Lenny. So much like in the Open, you said we have yet, and I say yet, we have yet to meet in person. Lenny, because of what I was doing on the West Coast, how do you not know of Lenny Boris Jr.?
Right.
But I didn't know him. I actually never met him till he drilled a ball for me. And I told him, I was still in Phoenix. I messaged him. I said, hey, I'm moving out to Wisconsin. I don't know where I'm living. Travel is not a big deal. You're my guy. I'm going to you. I'm not going to fish around and try to find, a pro shop because I don't know, right? You're going to go to if you want something done right, you go to the best. And I haven't, ventured off of that. I mean, he's given me a kitchen pass every so often when he was on PBA 50 tour. So I've had maybe 5-6 balls in the 9 years I've been out here, drilled by a friend of mine. But other than that, Bowler's Choice, which is now top notch, owned by Matt Gasson, has done pretty much everything that I've put into the shop.
Yeah. And he's still drilling, right, for the moment?
What's that?
Lenny's still drilling there for the moment, right?
Yeah, he is back and forth between actually both of Matt's shops.
Oh, okay.
But to answer your question, Lenny and I, we talk bowling, we talk PBA, and then I kind of give them the room. I'll go out, maybe I'll go see Alan at Castle Lanes, and Amber and Lenny, they talk, they are soundboard for each other, because let's be honest, I'm the spouse. I don't know how they're feeling.
Right.
They know I'm there for them. They know I love them, but I'm not in that position. So what better than just let the two of them talk, and they offer up tips to each other of how to handle, it could be nausea, it could be this, it could be that. So yeah, they are soundboards for each other. And I mean, Lenny's got a few others. So I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that. It's not like, Amber's the one, but yeah, when we come into the shop and Lenny's there, I get the bowling stuff out of the way, and then they talk, and they got as much time as they need.
Yeah, that's good that they have each other to talk to like that. All right, so Sam says, I feel that Junior Gold is too many days and could be a much shorter tournament. It's a good one, between the ball demo days, the youth open, the expos with the pros, the practices, the qualifying, the advancers, and the match play, you really do get to see the best in the country at junior gold. She would know.
Oh, yes.
Trey's been there enough. But is there a way to package all that stuff into fewer days?
Sam asked the right question, and she actually missed the tournament, believe it or not. I mean, she missed the USA Bowling.
Yeah.
So they have that, because that'll be part of the TV show that you mentioned in the open with the PWBA. They will be recording a number of the shows. So of all of those events and all those other things, to shorten it would be to the low-hanging fruit, and this is my opinion, would be to eliminate opening ceremonies, would be to eliminate the trade show, would be, but not the trade show. You kind of need that so you get registered. The ball demo, and the party in the park. But that's also, and you can see it with the SYCs. That's where the kids can just kind of be themselves. Because again, as you said, Trey's been there. A number of Wisconsin bowlers have been there. It is a grind.
Yeah. And a lot of kids get into that, but not many get to be the cream of the crop. And that's what makes tournament wins there pretty special. Hey, look at this. Hi, Dad.
There's Mason.
Does he get control of the channel, or is he kind of hijacking your channel?
He actually has an older laptop of mine, so yeah, he'll go in and he'll watch his Pokemon stuff and other gamer stuff. But yeah, he'll comment on other pages as well. So
yeah, okay. And he just says
went, snowboarding today. Yes,
just yes. That's all you need to know.
Second boss of the house.
Yeah. Yeah, no, as well he should be. I mean, that's kind of how it works around here with mine.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep. Amber, Mason, the dog, and then me.
At least you have a place on the scale somewhere, right?
Hey, it's top 5. We in bowling, we take that, right?
For sure.
We take top 5s.
You made the show.
Yeah. Hey, I showed up.
Yeah. Okay, so Mr. Peterson is another one who I reached out to before. Says he does remember asking Lenny about you right after he met you. And Lenny said with a smile that Brian somehow seems to have met and is friends with most of the best in bowling. He also said that your pure passion for the game is real, very tangible. He thinks it's so cool that Mason seems to enjoy the game as well. But let's hit that first point that he made about you have met and being friends with most of the best in the game. Is that something that's just kind of happened because of what you were doing, where you were, or did you make a concerted effort to go up to these guys and ladies and chat them up and get to know them a little bit?
I think it's 50-50, yes. I think everything that I have been a part of and currently a part of has always been a building block. And so, I mean, if we're talking PBA, PWBA, I was doing stuff without even knowing it was cool. I mean, I would take off of high school for 2 weeks. Back in Arizona, they had 3 weeks of PWBA action where they had a PWBA event, and then they had, if you remember, the Legends and Ladies tournament. So the PBA 50 got paired up with the PWBA, and then a non-televised show was actually the Ladies and Legends and the ADA, the American Wheelchair Association.
Oh, okay.
So they would have a trios tournament, and so I would take off for like 2.5 weeks. I was ball caddying. I was ball caddying for Marian DeRupo, Anne Marie Dugan, Kathy, and Leanne Holsenberg now, but Leanne Barrett at the time. And I was just doing things because it felt right. I mean, to me, I was like, they're superstars. And I think that's one thing we borderline on. It's the fact that we could bowl league with these guys, but they're superstars and superstars that we have. There is no red velvet rope between us and them, which is what makes sports like ours so unique. And I think it just snowballed. And when I got involved with IBMA, the International Bowling Media Association, that brought me, and it helped when I was, again, living on the West Coast, to Bowl Expo every year. You want to talk about networking. I've always, no matter what I do, networking is a huge part of what I do. And now we're talking 25, 30 years. So someone who meets me now, yeah, I'm friends with a lot of the who's who in, and I will say the industry. I don't want to say, the PBA or this or that, because there's people within those organizations. I mean, Janae Haggerty is, I adore and love what, she's doing behind the scenes, the Mike Sleds, the Tobys. And again, those are all PBA related, but it's all about networking and going to Bowl Expo, sitting at the awards lunch every year. And I think it was more so where I kind of reiterated that it was 50-50. It was not always me knowing who they are or meeting them. It's the other way around too, is they see me around. And Len Nicholson will be one of the first people to say that. Like, he saw me for a couple of years and didn't kind of sat back and watched what I did every year until we because I think it was 2-3 years before we even talked, and we were in the same board directors meeting.
Wow. Yeah. And that's a great jumping off point for the work that you do with the Phantom Radio Junior Bowling Club. And of course, with Len, you got to have a nice big graphic, right? To truly, catch all the essence of his comments. So I made one here. He says that you're a total family man. He says you love your wife and son. You're a hard worker. You're honest and loyal. You know and are respected by many of the kids and parents, and you're a total bowling nut. And I think you have to be the total bowling nut to do all the things, to meet all the people, to do junior gold scoring, to go to Bowl Expo, and on and on and on and on, to live the industry like you do. So tell us the story about how you and Len, kind of hooked up for this junior bowling club idea that I'm assuming when you first talked about it, it was just an idea that hadn't, taken effect just yet.
One of the things that people don't know about Len Nicholson is it's an idea when he's by himself. When he is asked, it's like a parent.
Yeah.
When they tell you, you should do something, it's not really telling you should. It's an idea when he was at home and the concept. But by the time he reached out to me, it was happening, whether I jumped on board or not. And he pretty much said, I need you for the social media. I need you because you are grounded to a lot of the youth bowlers and the families, and pretty much what the youth bowlers are looking for, because you have one.
Yeah.
Look at that beautiful website.
Yeah. You have something to do with that?
No, I don't. And actually, that is all the beautiful people at Kegel. The fact that they are allowing us to be on and host what we need to for not only the Phantom Radio show, but also the junior program as well.
Sure.
The Brandon Padilla there and Chris Davis at Kegel, those guys have been huge help to get this all set up for us.
Yeah. So what do you do with the Phantom Radio Junior Bowling Club, and what's it all about?
So it is free. That's right. I know not a lot of things are free, but if you're a youth bowler under 18 years old, it is free. Once you go to the website, kegel.net /PhantomJR, you fill out the quick little info, your name, your address, center you're bowling at, how did you hear about it? I will then get a email and process a membership card. And there's usually a little trinket from one of our sponsors, or the Phantom will send something. But I do a lot of the, and so we host all of it on Phantom Radio on Facebook. We kind of do the Junior Bowling Club and the radio show information all on one landing page. But our goal is to have one youth bowler a month on the show.
Yeah.
And so my physical part is really doing the Facebook posting as well as the membership kit and trying to help Len with who would be a good candidate to be on the Phantom Radio show.
Yeah. He's asked me if Carson is willing to, because he's one of the charter members, and you know how 12-year-olds are. No.
Yeah, I have one.
No. Yes. No. Yes. No. So it's been more no than yes recently. I'm hoping someday he'll be on. And I know Len would welcome that, but you know, he's got to want to. So we'll see. We'll see on that one. But yeah, and Mason is the charter member of all charter members, right? Number one.
He is numeral number one. That's right.
Yeah. So, I mean, tell us about him a little bit, because I mean, I've seen the social posts. I don't have to go out on a limb to say that you're proud of him, but he's got a great start in this sport too.
Yeah, I mean, he does. He's got a great start for whatever he wants to do. We don't force anything. I tell him, hey, this tournament's here. Do you want to bowl? The no's are very infrequent. He literally is still at the point where he loves to throw a ball, and I say that score is irrelevant because he averages 140. He could shoot 110, and you can't tell if he shot 110 or 220 because he hasn't put a number with success or a number with bowling bad. So he goes out and you know, he's got a nice little arsenal of storm bowling products, and he has a pretty good knowledge of if he feels like he's got to overthrow it. He's got a pretty good head on his shoulder. Did forget to mention he is left-handed, so that helps also. It's a little learning curve for me.
And he's not bowling right now. Doing homework.
Oh. So. Oh, yeah. Well, that's because he needs to be eligible for basketball tomorrow.
There you go. So
that's why he's up this late. But yeah, he's got a good little head on his shoulder. I never really forced any tournament on him. Again, hey, this is here. Do you want to bowl? Half the time before I even finish the name of the tournament, yes, I want to bowl. He loves to bowl. He's like, Daddy, do we have any pro-ams coming up? I missed the PBA guys. I go, you got that coming up shortly. He does bowl on the WIBT, which if I can plug both JBST and WIBT, those are our two youth tours in Wisconsin. They're actually both this weekend at Junior Gold hosted centers. JBST can be found at jbst.org. They're bowling Saturday, January 18th at Rolling Thunder, and WIBT.org is at Ashwaubenon on Sunday, the 19th. So I know spots are available for both of them. We focus more on WIBT just because that's kind of where we started, and we were going to duel the tours this year. We actually kind of started, but he started getting burnt out, and I was like, well, we're going to stay with WIBT because he had more in the player points and to kind of make it to the invitational at the end of the year. Did make a Junior Gold spot, so he is going to take part in Junior Gold. He's done Youth Open the past 3 years. I've never really pushed Junior Gold because I still kind of wanted him to learn and get a really good base before going up there. But as you said earlier, it is in our backyard, so why not kind of dip our toe in the water, and we'll see what happens. It's also his last year's U12, so it doesn't get any better than the first time you can bowl this term is your senior year as a U12 bowler. Mm-hmm. So he'll have that Youth Open, and then part of JBST we're going to be on one of their teams for USA Bowling next month as well.
Okay. Yeah, those are two fantastic tournament tours. They've both come up by me a couple times, and it's you talk about seeing some of the best in the junior ranks. Those two tours I would put right up there with any around the country, just because they're run well and the talented players.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so where do you go from here in the in the phantom radio realm, in the bowling realm? What does the future hold for Brian Hirsch?
Great question. I like just wearing the many hats and being part of so many different things. Kind of what I said earlier. It's anytime, anywhere that I can give back, and especially if it's youth related, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be the first one. Being, what do you need? What can I do? But I don't really have my eyes open for anything right now. I guess status quo, representing the brands that support me, being Storm, I Am Bowling, Top Notch Pro Shop, and like I said, Sheridan Lane's allowing me all the lane time that I can get, and then staying with Phantom Radio and trying just to get the junior program back up, and getting more members. Like I said, it's a free membership, and all you have to do, jump on. Once you're a member of the club, you can ask the Phantom a question. There's no silly question. He'll send you out another gift. Mm-hmm. So it's a win-win, and we do have boosters. If anyone's interested in helping us with that, we're more than happy. We can, I'm happy to talk to anybody offline about it.
Yeah. How many members at this point?
I believe we're just over 200 or right around 200.
Okay. Yeah. So that's great. Another one of the goals that you set.
Correct.
Yeah. So good to hear. John mentioned, John Peterson, that after bowling on Tuesday nights at Sheridan Lanes, we hang out for hours telling old bowling stories. Of course, Lenny had the best ones with all his tales from PBA, but he said Brian would often put his 2 cents in, as, once again, he knows everybody in the bowling universe. Great times that almost always ended past the midnight hour. And he gave me a little photo representation of this. Who are we seeing here?
Oh my God, that's an old photo. So on the left, that's Jake Boris. That's Lenny's son.
Okay.
That's Scooch, and then Lenny in the middle, then Petey, and then myself. Now, I want to add, there's always two sides of a story, and John's about 70% right. What he didn't tell you was I was working at the center. So while I'm working and they're bowling, maybe having a cocktail or two, it may not have always been me putting in my 2 cents, but I just smile and nod, and yeah, I just, the part of it going past midnight, yeah, for a league that started at 6, and it's a doubles league, there was a lot of, we all bowlers say, man, if I could be a fly on the wall and listen
exactly
to
what I told you.
Yeah. Honestly, those were some of the best shifts that I worked, is once those guys got done bowling, there's 5, 6, 7 of them just chatting. I mean, again, what I said, there's no red velvet rope. I mean, PD being an Eagle winner, you got Lenny Boris, you got Jake, and it's just amazing that at all these different talent levels, nobody looks down on anybody else. In fact, I believe there's more trying to push somebody. A 200 average bowler is going to push a 180 bowler to get better. Yeah. And same thing, 220 is going to help that scratch bowler get over the hump and get to 205, 210.
Yeah. We heard it last week with EJ Tackett talking about why he helped the bowlers in his center. And I totally, I totally love that about our sport, that, you go to a new place and Lenny's waiting there, and he'll help you however he can, and the best bowlers in your community probably do the same, which is awesome. So he says we have 906 subscribers. Getting nice and close to that magic number, right?
So that is subscribers on our Hirsch Bowling YouTube channel, not because I think you were asking about the members.
Phantom Junior.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks for helping.
Yeah, no, that's great. Okay, so we're getting over the hour here. I'm keeping you a little long, but I can't let you go, as you know, without this.
Let's go off the sheet. Challenge a bowler to appear on a future episode.
I would like to challenge Will Madison.
I would say Diana Zavulova.
The better Russo, Lauren Russo.
We're looking for anyone who has a passion for the sport and a unique story to tell.
I love that you were watching last week when Nate challenged you. I don't think that happens all that often, but I'm glad that it did, because here you are. But as the whole spiel goes, now it's your turn to challenge somebody else to be on a future episode. So, Brian Hirsch, who's it going to be?
So the person that I'm going to challenge is someone that I met a couple of years ago. Very, very impressed with her physical game, her mental game. And let's be honest, this show was a lot about youth. And we have a young lady in Kenosha, and I want to challenge Skylar Petts.
Okay. Yeah. What should we know about Skylar for those of us who haven't seen her bowl or have been around her?
She's just a phenomenal, solid game. Bowls pretty much like Mason. Anything and everything she can, goes out to SYCs, goes out and bowls the EYTs down in Illinois. Actually, I was able to have her, Mason, and Skylar's dad, John, bowl on a team, and I kind of had a surprise second adult. It was a junior adult, 2-child team event, and we got Melanie McDaniel from the PWBA, and they ended up winning a title together. So they won a team event this year.
Oh, that's awesome. That is incredible.
And a great girl, great head on her shoulders.
It looks like you're getting approval from both Mason, who says Skylar Petts, yes, and Dan, Sky, great young lady. Yep. So Skylar, if you're interested, if it's okay with your folks, come find me. I'm on Facebook under Andrew Pfeffer, or you can email bowlingwiththepfeff@yahoo.com, and we can certainly make that happen. This is always, I always talk about bowling stories and bowlers in general, but love hearing from talented youth players, because someday we're going to need to know those names. And, today we need to know those names. Yesterday, So it's great to have youth players in these shows too, because there's a great place for youth bowling, and it's right here. So our next live stream is actually live on location at Bullwinkle's in Eau Claire. I don't normally have the graphic ready this early, but we'll be revealing some of the new features of the 2025 Eau Claire Area USB Association Tournament, and it's the first association tournament here since 2023. We've got some great reasons for association members to compete. Association President Barb Hansen, Vice President Randy Schenk will be here to tell us all about the new association tournament on Wednesday, January 22nd, 7 p.m. Central. And like I said, we'll be out at Bullwinkle's Live, so hope you will join us for that. Brian, it's been a pleasure getting to know you. Safe travels and best to your family in all things bowling related and everything else. I
appreciate it. Thanks. It's been a pleasure being on the show, and definitely look forward to meeting you in the future. And we'll get you out to Junior Gold. You gotta see. You will be very wide-eyed once you see what goes on.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and for sure, we will definitely meet up one of these days. But for now, thanks so much, and thanks to all of you for watching. Have a great week. We will see you again next time.
Thank you for watching Bowling with the Pfeff. Pound the like button and subscribe button. It's the easiest way to support the channel, and it's free. Bowling with the Fef is brought to you by Chip Magnet. Raise your snack standards.
Jerry's Score More Bowling Supply inside Wagner's Lane. So Eau Claire, Wisconsin area's leader in bowling products and services since 1988. And Visionary Video Hub. Video with impact.
Email bowlingwiththefef@yahoo.com with questions or to appear on the show. You can also reach out on your favorite social media platform.